We're just a few days away from the 2025 NFL Draft, and that means it's time to put out my last mock draft of the year. We're going team by team. We're the Buffalo Bills. We will be in Green Bay for every pick of the 2025 NFL Draft on Radio Row on Thursday and Friday for the first 3 rounds. Then we'll be in the big-ass house on Lake Michigan for the last day with everybody there. It will be myself, Cowboy Zach Hurst, armchair commentary David Smith, Jonathan Welch, and, of course, as always, my radio partner in crime, Tank Spencer. Okay, we are with the Buffalo Bills here, so we're to pick number 30. And at 30, I have them taking Trey Amos, cornerback out of Ole Miss. Look, this is one of the only corners in this class that I think can do a little bit of everything. I saw him in zone last year. The zone coverage improved over the course of the year. I think he is one of the best corners in this class. I like him way better than virtually anybody else does. I had him at 20 to the Broncos for, 3 or 4 of these drafts. And then I started figuring out, well, he's not quite that high, but I still think he's a first-rounder. I do have a pretty sizable bet on DraftKings that Trey Amos is going to go in the first round that I think would, when I made it, I think that paid at plus 800. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. I think he fits in nicely with Buffalo. I can add the edge rusher. I can add the defensive tackle later on in this draft, which obviously you can see on the screen that I did. We go pick 56, Omarr Lott, defensive tackle out of Tennessee. This kid kills quarterbacks. Him and Ed Oliver together is absolutely intoxicating idea to me. The only thing that worries me about Norman Lott, he's one of the hardest players to place in this draft because he did have a knee injury that apparently popped at the combine. So some teams, anytime you have a potentially nagging injury, something that could be chronic, it does tend to push you down the board. For me, this is a little bit of a push down the board. He may fall further. I don't think it's going to be much further because the tape is really, really good on him. Really good pass rusher, just not a lot of depth of tape against the run because Tennessee, they basically line shifted their defensive line with every single – they had 3 sets of guys. So I don't have a lot of run defense tape on James Pierce. He was there longer, and so I saw more because he played earlier. But still, it's not as I don't think it's that Omarr Lott can't defend the run. It was that he was a pass rusher specifically, and that's how Tennessee wanted to use him. Number 62, Xavier Watts, safety out of Notre Dame. This kid came to Notre Dame as a wide receiver, converted to safety. He's still learning to tackle. He's not a great tackler, but he's good. This is not like Billy Bowman who couldn't tackle me. So Xavier Watts is just an absolute ball hawk. He's got great hands, really can track a quarterback's eyes because he has a wide receiver mentality. He knows where the quarterback's looking to go. He can manipulate quarterbacks. I think he's the replacement for DeMar Hamlin, who can now go back to playing special teams, and that's where he belongs because he's not a starting safety in this league. 109, I go Baron Sorrell, edge rusher out of Texas. He is a weird eval for me because I did not have him this high. He's in the 130s, 140s for me. But the more I've watched of him and the more I've talked to other people, it seems like a lot of really smart guys are very high on Sorrell. So now I've gotten to the point where I think he's going to play on the end of a 4-man front like Buffalo plays and can be a legit pass rusher. He just plays out of control at times. And that was one of my hangups with him, is that if you stand him up, then I'm afraid that the out of control is going to show up more and more because you're giving him more room to roam. So I just stick him on the end of a 4-3. I use his ability to get after quarterbacks and go right here with the Buffalo Bills as a rotational piece. Second, 4th round pick, Dante Thornton, wide receiver out of Tennessee. This is a BDD, and he is fast as hell. The only problem with Thornton, and the reason that I don't have him going any higher, is that his tape runs really hot and cold. Like the games that he went off, he was out of this world. He was indefensible, but then you would forget he was on the team for 3 weeks. So I really like the idea of him coming into a spot in Buffalo where he can be the high flyer over the top. You've already got Keon Coleman. You've already got Khalil Shakir. You've got Kincaid out of the slot. That's a lot of pieces that I really know what they are. I can develop Thornton a little slower and use him as that outside X. I love the tape on the kid when it's good. It's just there's not enough of the good, and I'm not really sure why that happened. 5th round, Bills have 3 picks, and I like all 3 of these guys. 2 of them have been really popular in the process. Caleb Rogers, the guard out of Texas Tech. There are people that think he plays tackle. There are people that think he plays guard. I think he's going to be one of those. He can do either one. It's just a question of what do you need him to do. And he can move around the line. I think there's a very high upside on him. There's also a kind of scary floor. So that, for me, is more of a fifth-round pick. Kane Medrano, linebacker out of UCLA. I actually got onto this kid watching Oladejo and Schlesinger. I started with seeing this kid pop on tape. And the more I watched it, the more I went, damn, this is the reason they were able to move Oladejo to the defensive line, because this kid was back here playing linebacker. And you had Schlesinger that was – I think Schlesinger plays really out of control. And it's the same thing that I kind of said about Baron Sorrell. He's just really aggressive. Medrano was more of the I'm just here, I'm consistent, never going to be out of position. And to me, he really fits the profile of a Buffalo Bills linebacker. Final fifth-round pick, Bilal Cohn, cornerback out of Western Michigan. I love the tape on this kid. He is more zone than Trey Amos. I don't know that he's going to hold up in man. I just didn't see enough of it because Western Michigan played a really heavy zone scheme. I added a third corner. Yes, I did add 3 corners for the Bills. Robert Longerbeam is a slot guy specifically. He cannot play on the outside. He is going to play exclusively in the slot. Cone and Medrano are probably more developmental pieces that you can make into higher-end players over the course of the next handful of years. And then a guy that I know they're really high on, Sean Dolak, linebacker out of Buffalo. I will bet the Bills have had really good eyes on this kid. And look, I've said for a long time, I think Buffalo is not as good at linebacker as everybody else thinks. Dolak is a super developmental prospect. The jumping competition is going to be outrageous for him. I see Spin in our YouTube comment said Dolak is a Bernard clone. I actually agree with you. I think he can be a better version of that if you give him time, but it's going to take a good amount of time. So I look at both those linebackers, Medrano and Dolak, and I think if you give them time, that can be everything you need in the linebacking core. It is just going to take time. Buffalo Bills fans, how do you feel about this mock draft? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Are there players you want to talk about with the Bills? Throw those in the comments. I answer every single one of those. I'm going to try to get to all those comments before Thursday as we go live from Radio Row in Green Bay. We'll be in Titletown for every pick of the 2025 NFL Draft, and it's yours right here in the Sportsocracy. I'm at ESPN Draft Nerd Jeremy Green of ESPN Radio Asheville and NFLDraft.net, and this has been a full 7-round mock draft for your Buffalo Bills.